Creating a server is actually really easy, and you can do that with your old computer. Yeah, that computer that is staying in the dark corner of yours. And the coolest part is that servers don't need a lot of power, what I mean, they don't need a lot of energy, or even new hardware. They can basically run on any old hardware, and they are easy to be set up nowadays, which I will explicitly say like 5 times or 10 times in this video, lol. Today in this video I will show you how to create your own server from ground up. Actually, it's nothing more than installing applications and services that are already pre-configured for you. And also I will show you what I run on my mini server, which is also an old computer, and why you might want to use servers. Please watch this video, please, 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 please. It took me 3 months, literally, to create this video because I'm so unsatisfied with results. Anyway, let's get back to the video. So why do I wanted to create this video? Very interesting. But actually, aren't there a lot of other videos on the internet? Well, kind of. It is, surely. But to find one video that can teach you something and explain why you may really want to have a server isn't an easy task. The worst part is that a lot of the videos on YouTube and other platforms are made with clickbait, or worse, just to bait or trick you, which is actually clickbait. What am I even saying? You into watching the video, so basically. If we are talking realistically, then you might want to create a server because it can teach you a lot in how servers work. This is first. And trust me, it is very interesting. For example, what is DNS, firewall, how to secure your network, how can someone hack your website or server. Only the one actually that are hosted on the global network, which means that are accessible outside of your network. In this video we will do it only for our network. It will not be accessible to the world, and so you don't really need to know anything to start with creating your own server. Okay, but why do I use a server? Firstly, it improves my internet connection stability, and it really does. It has not clickbait or anything like that. Often I have no to very poor connection on the evening. I have around 300 megabits for 5 seconds, and then it drops just occasionally to 0 for some reason. And with help of server I can easily improve my connection stability and get rid of a lot of ads on the browser for all of the devices that are connected to the internet, and also I can get rid of a lot of malicious or phishing websites. This is just one reason why you might want to use a server, but there are actually a lot of different possible things you can do with it. You can find it in the internet basically. You can host your own Netflix-like server where every movie is stored, and make your own cloud where you will save your data, such as images, documents, programming code, etc., for short NAS, or network attached storage. Get server, also a thing. Set up your own dedicated server for cameras, even with AI functions. There are countless of possibilities. I don't want to really talk about every single of them because it's overwhelming how much you can do with a server with an old computer nowadays. If you want to check what else you can make with a server, you can find a lot of information about it in the internet yourself, or also ask people in the server community, forums, even in this video, what you can do, what should you do, or even how to, and everybody will try to help you. At least we will try to help you. If you have some question down in the comments, and I will really try to help you and respond as quickly as I can. And if you already know that you want to create, or at least see how to create a server, it is really easy. Then just let us start. So enough of talking why servers are awesome. Let's start with creating our own server using old or below decent hardware. So firstly, you will need to get a PC for a server to be run on. Here you can see mine, which is relatively old, and it's the worst computer you can get right now on eBay from from used ones. I have DDR3, I have Haswell CPU, and therefore no GPU, and 512 gigabytes storage, and it's HDD, and you can get for 80 euros or $80 much per computer, at least in my country. After it, we will flash Linux image on it. Basically, we will install an operating system which suits for our purposes very well, which is in this case Ubuntu Linux Server Image. Of course, you can use any different operating system, but Ubuntu Linux is really easy to configure for newcomers. It's really easy to learn, especially compared to others, because it has a lot of things configured by default, and it needs much less of tinkering and configuring because a lot of the things are configured from the start. Then after we have installed it, we will need to install some packages, other set applications with dependencies for it. Because it's a mix of both, we use the word a package here. Then after we configure it, this part's actually really easy and fast to do, we are finished. So let us start with first, namely installing the operating system. Go in the browser and search for Linux Ubuntu Server. Press on the website that should have titles similar to Get Ubuntu Server, Download Ubuntu. Now tap on the Download, Some Version and LTS button. Choose LTS version. This file, or better say image, should weigh approximately 2.6 gigabytes. If it weighs more or less, it's because it's newer version. Now prepare a USB drive that you want to install the operating system on. When we will install operating system on the USB drive, everything will be formatted. Other set deleted from the USB drive, so use only the drive that you know that has no important information on it. Now we should install and open the Flash utility program that will be needed to flash or other set install operating system on the USB drive so that we could plug it into the computer and then install it. For this we will use Balena Etcher. You can also use Rufus and other applications, but we use Balena Etcher in this case because of its wide support for all major operating systems. When you installed it from the official website of Balena Etcher, run the application and tap on the button Flash from File. Choose the ISO at the set image or operating system that we have downloaded before. If you're curious, it weighed approximately 2.6 gigabytes. It's this .iso file. After you have chosen an ISO or operating system, click on the button Select Target and select your USB drive that you have connected to your PC and where operating system will be prepared and installed, so we can install it on different PC. And again, make sure that it's the right USB drive you want to install operating system to, so you will not end up deleting your important information on other devices. After you have done the previous steps, you can now tap on the button Flash. After it's done, you can close the application and eject your USB drive that has now ISO or operating system. Now we are at the next step, which is installing operating system on the machine, or better say our PC. That will be our server. Funny fact, server comes from word serving. So go to your future server machine, as now we will do the most important thing. So here's my machine, which is PC I got from school. Don't ask how. Plug the USB drive in the USB slot on the PC and turn it on. While it's turning on, we need to press F2 or F3 or delete or escape key to get into BIOS or UEFI. So here I'm going into boot manager and choosing desired USB drive. Try or install Ubuntu Server. So I'm currently in virtual machine, and for you it should not matter at all. It will be the same for you as for me. So you will basically just follow me along. Why do I do this on virtual machine is because I don't have any computer on which I can right now rip all of my data and install operating system on. So if you're unsure sometimes what you want to do, you can also try out in VM first. Sometimes it does not work in VM for some reason, but if you will do this on real hardware, it will work. it shouldn't bother you actually. It doesn't matter, I think. So here, everything what I do, you will need to do on your machine too. It's the same for every machine. So we are right now at the first step, which is keyboard configuration or language selection. Here we will choose our desired language, choose what you want to have. I will just use English and say update to the new installer. You can also say no, I will not do this. Just depend on you. Here we choose keyboard configuration. You choose here layout you're willing to use, and I will say it's better to choose English. I don't know how you would write commands in other language, but you can also choose here variant. Say you want to use Dvorak and not QWERTY, I don't know, and you can also identify your keyboard. Here, English is pretty good for me, so I will use done. Here, choose the base for the installation. We can use Ubuntu Server or minimized version. I will say here is where you need to choose additional options, search for third-party drivers. You can do this with arrow keys and then with space to choose. Why? It's because there are some applications that need proprietary drivers, for example NVIDIA and so on. What does this mean? In Linux world, we have a lot of applications, or it is intended actually to that we use only applications which have open code. It means if you're willing to look in why or how does this work in my system, for example, how do I get sound? You can look up the source code. You can see entirely how it was written and modify it yourself and even distribute it. That's why here you can choose to use proprietary drivers, which sometimes are needed. They don't have any open source code, which is against ideology of Linux and of Unix system overall, which is Linux and macOS is off. But to be sure, we are not running about here in ideologies and so on. We just want to have everything work perfectly and not to configure it in 0 AM. That's why search for third parties should be on an Ubuntu server. Just normal version. You can choose it with space, and here we down, tap on down. Here you will configure your network configuration. It will see your internet controller. I really suggest you to use wired connection. First, it makes life much easier because you don't need to configure your network to be wirelessly. It's sometimes too much pain. And the problem is you will not have really stable internet connection, and for the server you really need a stable internet connection. If you will run something like for improving internet connection as I do, Pi-hole or block ads, but if you really want to do it wirelessly, then it's better to watch different video how to configure it, because I have never done it wirelessly. Here everything works for me. I have DHCP v4 as you see configured. I have a name of my interface was found, and you can see also IP and MAC ports, so everything is done correctly. Proxy address sometimes needed if you need to use it HTTP proxy to access the outside world, but you can change it always. For now we just want to be the server local, which means it will run only from our internet and you can't access it anywhere else. Because if you want to dive deeper into it, you will need to learn about a lot about security, how to configure your server that it will not be hacked, HTTP proxies, DNS, there's too much things going on. So here, if you just do as I do for your home, you don't need also to do anything, just do done. Mirror addresses is what is called for package manager. Package manager is what searches for packages or other set applications and installs it for you. You say, I want to install, let's say, Nextcloud, which will be for network attached storage. I want to install this application. This application also has dependencies, therefore we call it package, because it has not only the application itself, but also dependencies. And here mirrors means there are servers to which it connects in order to know what does this application mean, from where do I need to install it. And mirrors, it does this automatically. They detect the most fast mirrors, the closest one to you. Basically something like in CSGO or Valorant or any other shooter or Dota 2 or anything else. When you connect to a server, it says you this is the fastest server to, for example, Frankfurt is the fastest server and you should connect to it. So it's basically the same. We can do done. Configure guide the storage layout or create a custom one. Here, if you have just one, you can use an entire disk. And here you can just choose which you want to. I have only one, so I choose it. 25 gigabytes because I use a VM and I don't want to give more storage because I just want to show it to you. On my system, I have used an entire disk. Set up the disk in a VM group. And here you don't need to change anything. If you're expert, you can choose custom storage layout. But for here, if you have more storages, if you have just one, just use an entire disk, choose one you want to have operating system on, and set up disk as an LVM group and just hit done. Here we'll summarize everything you have done and you click done and confirm that everything will be erased now. So if you say continue, everything that is on this hard drive will be deleted. So it's less choice to backup data from it, but I don't have anything there. Here, profile configuration. It's more if you want to log in to the system. For example, to configure something, to change something, to get root administrative access to the system, to log in. You will need to write every time the name. For example, in my choice, Mendes. Your server's name is host name, is how it will be defined in the internet. So in the internet, you will find this computer by this name, Mendes-Ubuntu. Pick a username is, you don't need to forget your username. Your username is really essential for you. This doesn't matter that much, this doesn't matter at all, but username matters much, because if you forget it, you will not be able to log in into your account to configure anything in your server. And the same goes about password. So every time you boot on the server and you want to change something, you want to have administrative access or anything like that, you will need to write down username, which is in my case Mendes. Here we will just use that, Mendes, and password, which will be 1, 2, 3 for me, but choose a better password. I use only this because I do a video about it. That's why on my main machine I use stronger password. Hit done. Enable Ubuntu Pro. Skip for now. If you haven't bought Ubuntu Pro, you don't need to. Just skip for now. Install OpenSSH server is a thing I can suggest to you. Even if you don't want to use it right now, in late terms you will use it. Why and what is it? It is that you can connect to your server from your PC or from your laptop and configure server from your laptop or your PC. So you don't need to get every time your server out of the rack or out. Just plugging everything out, going to another room, plugging it in, plugging to the monitor and keyboard and mouse. No, you will not need to do anything like this. You will just open SSH into it, which means just logging from your laptop or from your PC or anything else into the server and configuring it with it. This is must have actually. If you don't consider using it now, later on you will use it for 99.9% done. Locally or online, okay. Here is where our routes go in different directions. You can change it always. Here you just choose what applications you want to install. Here are some that are suggested ones that are really popular. For example, Kubernetes for workstations applications, appliances. It even tells you what it is. Nextcloud, which I wanted to use for network attached storage and I use on my main server. Open source Kanban, I don't know about it. Containers, VM, Docker, LivePatch, etcd, PowerShell for every system from Microsoft. If you want to, Google Cloud, AVS. No, if you want to. There are not so many. I have chosen Nextcloud because I want to configure it with space. You can do that. But really right now I will choose nothing because I don't need anything from here, for example, and I will install different applications. That's it. Hit done. Now everything installs. Here you can see full log file of how or what is it installing right now. If you want to, you can also view the full log file, which is harder to understand. This is more verbose version. After it will be done, you're ready actually to go and to put into your operating system. With the sudo apt-get install, you can install applications, or just sudo apt install. And then you just write sudo apt install and then the name of package you want to install, which is for example Nextcloud, or for example Pi-hole, or for example NeoFetch, anything like that, or FastFetch. That's it. You don't need to configure anything else. If you want to have a server for network attached storage and anything else, you will watch a video here. Installation complete for me, so now I just use reboot now. After you have done all of the previous steps, you're actually done and you have fully installed an operating system on your computer. So now what? What should you do? Actually, it is where our path is dividing itself, because it does depend on what you want to achieve or do with the server. I cannot help here in specific because you will need to install other applications that you will want to run on your server. For example, running something like cloud, network attached storage, NAS, then you will need this application. Doing surveillance, then do another application, and so on. So it depends really on what you want to achieve, and therefore you will need to watch another video depending really on what you want to do. So that's actually it. That's our video. And I'm recording now at the end of editing all of this video, or almost end. I have recorded this video for about 3 months ago, or almost 4 months ago. And it was really hard to continue working on this video because I wanted to achieve one specific thing. I have written a lot of text, which I will use for this video. I wanted to actually it be about why you don't need a powerful computer, but instead you see that it isn't about that. It's just about how to create a server. The problem was really that I focused mainly on the points that I don't really needed to focus on. And so here we are. I'm not really satisfied with the results, but also at the same time I feel like it is still useful, or at least for someone. But maybe more in the kind of way, why will they want to create a server? Why do I use it? Really, as I have already explained, actually it really improves my internet connection because it offloads the power processes from router. It has its own computer power too, so... And when it's evening or night, I have much better internet connection too, wirelessly. I use it for Nextcloud, just typically sometimes like when I need to save something and share across different devices. That's much easier to do. Like, I wouldn't try to get with USB drive and plug it into my phone or tablet, which you can actually do, but it's kind of annoying to do. Not that convenient, you might say, but... At the end, I want really to thank you very much for watching this video, even though it's not coming out as I really wanted it to be. I appreciate the fact that you are here because it means that you have watched the whole video, or perhaps you just skipped, but it doesn't matter, you're still here. So thank you very much for your attention. And also, if you're interested, I'm willing to create a Discord server, and if I do, it will be linked in the description below. I want to create a YouTube channel, which I have created, but I have nothing right there at the moment, which will be focused mainly in talk subjects, where I will be talking about myself, about some topics that I found most interesting, mainly about neurodivergence, LGBTQIA+, and so on. I don't know. We will see. It will be quite interesting. I just wanted to talk about some of the topics about myself and so on, because there is a lot of things that I think is needed to be addressed in the world but isn't really that often addressed, and there's a lot of misinformation or false interpretation of people, so that's maybe why also. And perhaps, I don't know, you can write down also what do you want to see on the Discord server. Will be quite interesting. You can also actually do streams, because I have done one stream in the past on the Twitch, which was about Gentoo installation, which was quite interesting. And I want to repeat something of this kind of streams, but do it more about, in general, things that I enjoy. Not only installing Linux operating systems, but also programming, gaming, sometimes, why not, and other stuff. So yeah, thank you very much for watching watching this video. Stay safe. Yeah, I don't know what to add here. Thank you very much. Oh, and also actually, I want to create next video, which will be more interesting perhaps, and really about nothing. Like, it should be about CRT monitor connecting to my server computer, which I will plug in USB drive with Linux installation medium that don't require to be run on HDD drive or storage medium from the computer. Seems like junk actually, like why would I want to do this? But still, it's fun, it's funny enough. And joy is the main reason why I do this. Perhaps, or also knowledge, but what can you get from here? I don't know, really. And also there will be video about OpenSSH Tumbleweed, because I have tried it out for more even than a week. And I will share my experience and some other cool stuff, maybe even about school game project which I do right now in Python and in Pygame framework. So yeah, thank you very much and see you soon. Bye.